What's going on, guys? I'm Flaunk, and this is Jet Tips number 6. Today we're going to be talking about performing effective airstrikes. Let's start off by talking about Rush. Here's the loadout that you're going to need. The only thing that's going to change between Rush and Conquest is your weapon, which is going to be the guided missile for Rush. Now, I know a lot of people don't like the guided missile. They don't like to use it as a weapon. But if you're one of those people, then don't worry, because you'll hardly have to use it. Because the cannon in the Rush jet, just your main weapon that you always have, is the most powerful thing in the game. As you can see right there, it just destroyed that jet, and tanks are also not a problem for this thing. If you hit it with pretty much maybe a quarter of a burst at most, it'll take out a tank. Just one strafing run, nice and easy. Now, the reason you have guided missile on this loadout here is, as you'll see in a second, when you turn around, or as I do, you flip over upside down. As soon as I get over and I'm level, I go into guided missile, and then I look around for enemies. And then when I finally see someone, then I can go in and go for the kill. Now, as you saw right there, I just used the cannon to go for the infantry, just because the cannon's so powerful that literally 2 bullets is enough to kill someone. 1 bullet from this plane to the body of a person that's not in a vehicle or anything does 50% damage. So 2 shots to the body from this plane and you'll get the kill. I'm pretty sure that it's 1 bullet for a headshot, so if you get lucky and get the headshot, then it just makes it that much easier. The thing is that not everyone knows where to shoot when they're strafing infantry, because let's be honest, they're like an ant when they're on the ground and you're in a jet. It's really hard to see them. So the trick is, don't look for the actual person. Look for the 2 symbols above their head when you spot them, because once you spot them, then you see those 2 little symbols above their head. Once you see those, then you know that the person themselves is going to be in between and just below those symbols. This might take a while to get used to before you can hit infantrymen just first try every try, but you just got to get a feel for it. You got to practice, because no matter how much I explain it to you, you're not going to be able to do it unless you go out and try it a few times on your own. So in summary, use your guided missile as a scope so that you can see the enemies, and then once you see your enemies, then you can just use your guided missile to go for the kill. The only time that you're going to want to use your guided missile to actually fire it is either a jeep, a mortar, or a SOFLAM. Jeeps are kind of hard to hit sometimes just because they move so fast, and mortars, they're extra points, because all you have to do is lock onto them. They're not going to be moving. The guided missile's guaranteed going to hit them, and you always get the kill. And then SOFLAMs, if they're causing trouble for you and your team, all you have to do is lock onto the SOFLAM with the guided missile, fire, and there you go, no more SOFLAM. Now let's talk about Conquest. Conquest is going to be different, because you can't just rely on this ridiculous cannon to kill anything on the ground, because the cannon on the Conquest planes is nowhere near as powerful as the ones on the Rush jets. So you're going to have to rely on your rocket pods a lot more. This is the loadout you're going to want. As you can see, it's the same as for Rush, except it has rocket pods instead of guided missile. Now, locating your enemies in Conquest is going to be a lot harder than it is in Rush, since you don't have that guided missile anymore. So first, let's talk about tanks, which are easier to see than just infantry. You're not going to be able to kill a tank in one run in Conquest, just because you don't have enough firepower on your plane. If you hit a tank with every rocket pod, maybe you can miss 1 or 2. But generally you're going to want to hit it with every rocket pod, and you'll get a disable. And then when I do that, after I disable it, then I fly straight up rather than flying past it. That way any survivors can't immediately shoot a stinger at me, because I'll already be too high up in the air for them to lock on. Then once your altitude is maybe 650, 700, then you're going to want to turn back around and try and finish them off. As for infantry, it's going to be a little bit more difficult, because you don't have guided missiles, so the only way that you can figure out where somebody on the ground is is by looking at the objectives, and if they're taking one of your objectives, then you know that somebody's there, and you can kind of fly kind of low once, and then come back around now that you know where they are, and then try and get them on the second run with your rocket pods. Um, It'll only take a few rocket pods to kill an infantryman, um, but they can be pretty agile, so it's a little difficult. But again, you just gotta practice until you get used to it, and then it's pretty easy. Well, guys, that's about it. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned something, and have a good one.